In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how you create and manipulate perspective grids in Adobe Illustrator. So I have it's kind of important, I have my workspace set up right here to Essentials Classic so that my perspective tools are in my toolbox over here. So just so you know what my settings are, so if you don't see it in your toolbox, check your workstation settings and set it to Essentials Classic, and you'll see under your transform tool you'll see the perspective grid tool, and once you click on it your perspective grid comes up, and you'll see when I click on this little point up above I can drop or expand. As I float down here to the bottom, I can change the perspective again up. And this is what they call a 2-point perspective. I can, again, as I get my arrows floating over, it'll adjust it again. I can come on my horizon line and I can make it more narrow if I want. I can expand it wider if I want, make it closer together, however I want. If I go to view and say I have my grid set up, the minute I click on another tool, like so, I click on the move tool here, then the grid won't move. So I can put type, I can put shapes, all this kind of stuff, and my grid won't move. But the minute I click back on my perspective grid tool, then I can manipulate it. If I don't want to see it after I've, or I accidentally turn it on, I get that with students a lot. They accidentally hit the hotkey commands to turn it on. Command Shift I hides it, and then Command Shift I brings it back. Also, if you go under View, Perspective Grid, you can hide grid, and there's my hotkey command, Command Shift I. So you can also change the perspective grids. So I could say, I can change the grid to 1 point, but if I need a perspective grid for, say, 2-point perspective, I can change the grid. I can change it to 1 point if I only want it to have one vanishing point. I can also use 3-point perspective, which puts it more of an extreme, like if you're on top of a roof, or, and just like with the rest of them, you can adjust it however you want to create more extreme perspectives. And let's go back to the standard 2-point, which is by default what we get. You also have not just the sides, but you also have the planes, so you can put things on where they look like they're laying flat on the ground rather than standing up, so you can put them horizontally or vertically on the planes as well. That also counts for the perspective views as well. But this is how you use the perspective grid in Adobe Illustrator. In another tutorial I'll show you how you can actually start putting graphics and text onto the perspective grid.